You don't need to do that.
Yes, I can. All right, I'm gonna be here.
Okay, yeah. Let's see. You want your phone? Maybe I can hear. Can you hear me, George?
I can hear you.
Take your phone. You need one earphone. Here, take that one. Uh-oh. What happened?
Ah, you just gotta love the tune. Loosen up, everybody. It's Monday night. Here's what we want you to do. We want you to tap your feet, snap your fingers, bob your head, and shake your booty. Loosen up because we got a great show for you tonight. We're going to come back and we're going to introduce our guest in just a minute.
I know it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends, Romans, and countrymen, lend me your ear. Charlie going to crank this music back down a little bit for us. Thank you, Charlie. Thank you very, very much. All right, Charlie's going to hit the right buttons, and then we are going to pop out of that and back into this. Hi, guys. How you doing?
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Doing good. Doing good. Friends, Romans, and countrymen, lend me both of your ears because we have an exciting show for you tonight. Whether you're down the street, around the corner, across America, or somewhere around this great, great big world, thank you for tuning in to the George Espinlove Show. We are delighted that you are here. My, oh, my. Come on in, excuse me, come on into the chat room, the room, whatever it's called. Come on in. And there you can leave comments, and we'll put them up on the screen for you, for everybody to see. You can ask questions and the whole 9 yards. So that's how it works around here. We want you to participate. We have a lot of people that come and they'll watch. And then there's others that'll come in. We're streaming live into the George Espinlove Show page on Facebook, and we're streaming live into YouTube. And then after this program's over tonight, we'll pull the audio apart from the video and we'll ship it up to the radio, and people there will hear it that wasn't able to view it. So with no further ado, as my friend Charlie always says, let's see who we have in the chat room, in our room with us. There's my friend Cassandra from Arkansas. Good evening, Cassandra, and thank you for dropping in. Cassandra, Chris and Mita is one of our loyal followers. She is just one fantastic lady, and she's always there with her support, and we thank her for that. Ladies and gentlemen, back in August, I think it was August, somewhere around there, Chris, we had you on the radio for the first time. And then when we started our live streaming and we integrated it with the radio, I thought it would be good to bring you back. And you brought your lovely wife with you, and I'm so glad that you did. Uh, so now people can not only hear you, but they can see you. There, we made you bigger. They can not only hear you, but they can see you. And my friends out there, this is my friend, Dr. Chris Hall, and his wife, Mita. Did I say that right?
You did. That's correct, Mita.
Okay. Uh, he's soon to be your friend. If you was on the radio with us back in August, you heard an incredible story uh, about an incredible journey that has brought him from there to here against insurmountable odds. I mean, it was looking bleak from the get go, wasn't it, Chris?
Certainly, certainly.
We for the benefit of those that don't know your story, let me put this up here. Chris has written this book, Ward of the Court, Grit, Charm, and Brains. That's what it took to get him to where he is today. And we are delighted that he made it. I'm glad that he made it because I've got a very special friend in Chris. He is he's just a delightful somebody. That's what he is. He's a delightful somebody. And he's my friend. He'll soon be yours too. Chris, lest I forget, on the back of your book, there's some interesting material there. And should I forget to mention it, please remind me because sometimes I can forget. The only thing I remember is that I forget. So if I forget, please remind me because there's some things about that back cover that I want to ask you about.
Yes,
But
sir.
if you'd be so kind, please take us back to where this whole thing started.
No problem, George. And first thing I'd like to say is that I'm very excited to be here. My beautiful wife, Mita, she's very excited to be here on your show. So thank you for inviting us again. And so, I know back probably I think this was 14 months ago when I first met you, and it was a blessing. It's been a blessing to be in communication with you. But this is all detailed in the book Ward of the Court, and it started when I was 4 years old. It started in Watts, California. It was a situation where, my parents are from Louisiana, and during that time there was a lot of migration from the south to the north and also to the west, and so they migrated into the west, and so we ended up in Watts, California, and in Compton, and very soon after that, my dad got himself in a situation, where he ended up in prison. Again, he ended up in a situation where he murdered an individual. And I believe, what my older sister tells me, this occurred, has something relating to my mom. But anyway, he ended up in prison, and so our mom ended up with myself and my four siblings there in Watts, California. And she was about 26 years old, and she was a single mom. And so, it was very hard. And unfortunately, she got in a situation where she ended up losing all of her kids. And so I was one of the kids that was lost, and we were spread throughout Los Angeles, California in foster homes. And so that's how really the story begins.
Chris, if you would you put your other earbud in, please? And then
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
When Lisa comes back, we'll get her to use both of them too.
Okay, so sorry about that.
No, that's all right. That's all right. You were from 4 years old. You were up against it. So the odds of you from the beginning to being where you're at today were extremely high that you wasn't gonna make it. Is that correct?
Sure. Hold on. I'm going to go ahead and answer that. Hold on one second. Okay. And so that would be true. And the facts of this, if you look at the statistics of the young people who end up in foster care system, uh, what you'll find is that in the range of 94 to 95% of those children who end up in foster care, and say juvenile hall, boys home, typically end up in situations where they're in the street or where they are in the penal system, in prison, or frankly, in the victims of homicides at an early age. And so it's just looking through the literature and literally what I saw growing up as a kid. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of people don't make it through that system. So those are the facts. Yes, sir.
So when you were 4 years old, and is that the time you were separated from your siblings and your mom?
Yes, sir. When I was four, that's when we were actually kind of what happens is, the court makes you a ward of the court. And so we're all made a ward of the court, which means basically the court determines everything for you. They determine kind of where you live, um, your medical care, just anything that a parent would do, the court steps in and does that. So at age four, that's when that occurred in Los Angeles, California. Yes, sir.
So when you were in your first foster home, did it become like a routine that you would stay for a while and then go to another place and then go to another place, or how did it work for you?
Exactly. So I think that first one, 4 years old, I believe it was a Miss Hankins, and I remember being four and asked her if I could call her mom. She said, "Great." And so I believe in that first foster home probably was there until I was maybe maybe 6 or 8, and then you move to another one, and there's circumstances behind the move, but yeah, I mean you're typically not there very long. I mean, if you're there some years, then um, that'd be a while. So yeah, I mean myself, I think probably 5 or 6 different foster homes by the age of 11. You know.
Wow. Did you get to see your siblings at all while you were in these other foster homes?
Now when we were very young, no, and basically um, that's because everyone was kind of young, and. But once I had an older sister by the name of Joyce, and once she became 17, then she would go around and try to get us together during the holidays, and sometimes those homes will let you go with your older um, siblings, and sometimes they won't. So there were instances where no, they would not let us leave with her or let myself leave with her, but she tried her best.
Let me ask you this. On the back of this book, let me get to this, and then I got to go someplace else here. On the back of the ward of the court, it says this: this book is dedicated to all the young people in America foster care and juvenile detention centers. No, the good Lord only knows that there are multitudes of young people in those places. As you read this autobiography, see the foster care system through the eyes of the magnetic Christopher L. Hall, MD. When he enters the system at 4 and pulls himself up by the bootstraps, this is what I wanted to touch on. His brother Wayne took another route. A 7-time felon, incarcerated for life, Wayne details the horrors of being sentenced to 1,300 years in prison. And in this book that you wrote, Chris, there is a letter there that was penned by your brother. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
And he talks about the horrors of the prison system. And as I read that, I couldn't help but think of the contrast. Uh, was he younger or older than you?
Wayne's older than myself.
I couldn't help but think of the contrast and how things happen to people in life where uh, the tragedy falls upon one and then somehow the other one comes out on the other end. Uh, it's a lesson for all of us of how important it is to make the right choices, right?
Definitely, definitely, and that's the contrast that myself and actually my brother Wayne want to people to see.
There is a part that we didn't really get into the last time that you were on, but you served in the military,
Yes, sir.
and I think you held the rank of captain. Is that what it was?
That's correct. Yeah, initially, you're a lieutenant, first lieutenant, second lieutenant, and then captain. That was my final rank.
And you were in the medical field when you were in the army.
That's right. That's right. I was what's described as the medical corps.
You coming out from the on the other side. You went to school. You studied hard. You put the shoulder to the wheel, uh, and you served in the armed forces, and then you became a doctor. Now, here's a question I want to ask you, and
Sure.
and we might let Mrs. Hall answer that. But
Sure.
how did you two guys get together?
Okay. So, as you said, George, and let me just say this. I appreciate your service to this country as a Marine, and we're certainly brothers in arms. Now, let me say this. Um, I was discharged from the military. This is probably about 2000, probably 2003, and I wanted to complete, further training in the medical field because kind of what I did was I started my medical training, and then I ended up getting a license after internship, which allowed me to serve as a doctor in the Army, um, and then pay back my time, and then after that to finish my residency. So I was at the University of South Alabama, and I was trying to finish my notes as interns and residents. They're around on patients. They write notes, and so I was writing my notes a normal day. And so there's two hospitals mainly you train in. There's the medical center at USA Medical Center where they're adults, and then there's children's and women's where they have children and they deliver babies. And so I was at the hospital where they deliver babies, and I remember this very vividly. I was on I believe I was there on the second floor in what's called postpartum,
Mother baby.
mother baby, and I was writing my note, and like I said, a normal day writing notes would be pretty simple, but I think that day it seemed to be a little bit more different. I'll tell you why. I was writing the note, and I looked up from the chart, and I saw basically this beautiful lady uh, down there in the counter there, and everything kind of went silent. I mean, I couldn't hear the intercom anymore. I certainly couldn't hear uh, phones ringing, and really probably I couldn't even hear my own thoughts. I heard her voice though, so that was the first inkling that hey, this is a special lady that um, I think God is trying to tell me something that uh, I need to listen to, and so that's what I did. And so she was working at that time as a nurse, and that's how we met. So
That's right.
So that's from your viewpoint. Mita, what what was it like from your side?
Well, from my side, I remember a call came through to the desk, and it was the security guard. On the unit that I worked, we had cameras because we had the newborn nursery and the babies there, so that was a extra level of security for us to have the cameras so we could see how people would come and go. And I remember the security guard calling saying, "There's a gentleman in the hall, a doctor, and he appears to be making rounds, but I've been noticing that his attention has been up the hallway. So I think he has his eyes on one of you all." I had no idea it was me.
wow, well, this is new for me. I didn't know this. Someone was telling on me. Oh my God.
Yes.
Wow. That's-
But I did later learn it was me. Um, Probably about 2 days later, I had a patient whose status had changed. And of course, I called the resident that was on call covering for that day. And it just so happened to be Christopher.
Lucky you, huh, Chris?
I know,
So I called him to update him on the status of the patient. And his exact words were, "Is this Mita Moore?" I say, "Yes, it is." He say, "Okay, then I'm going to come up to the unit." And he did. And from that day on, we exchanged numbers, and the rest was history because it's like, I think our first date may have been, that was on a Sunday. So our first date was the following Tuesday because Christopher tutored. He had some students that he was tutoring in statistics and math. So he had asked me to call him after 6 o'clock, and I did. And we went on a date. And from that day on, I felt like I met my best friend. He has always been very supportive of me and anything that I chose to do. And I say this one here is probably a keeper. And we dated for about maybe 9, 10 months, and we married. Dated and married in about 10 months, and today we've been married 14 years, and I absolutely married my best friend. I can think of anyone else I would like to would want to spend the rest of my life with. He's awesome.
Wow. There's a lady, Cheryl West, that said so romantic. Uh, uh, I knew people would want to know. I knew people would want to know. uh, you two you two are a very lovely couple, to say the least. Uh,
Thank you, George.
Thank you so much.
Mita, you're in the medical profession also, or you were, or you still are.
I am. I'm in the medical profession.
Wow, a doctor.
I'm a
Uh,
doctor of nursing practice. I'm a family nurse practitioner, so doctor of nursing.
wow. Uh, when somebody
Yeah.
says, "Is there a doctor in the house?" There's two of them in your house. So
Oh yeah. In the beginning, when I first got my doctorate degree, Christopher would have calls come through and they would ask to speak to Dr. Hall. So one time a call came through, they asked to speak to Dr. Hall. I just automatically gave him the phone. And they was like, "No, we want to speak to is there a female Dr. Hall?" And it's like, "Oh, okay, that's me." So yes, I had to kind of get used to that. It was a little different in the beginning, but
that,
I've gotten used to it now.
there's my good friend from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Derek Davis. He said, "Strong love, strong love." And then, of course, our friend Cheryl. She come up with this one. They have made George speechless. No, I don't think I'm totally speechless, Cheryl. After 51 years of being married, I think I know where they're coming from. So I'm not quite speechless. Sometimes I get a little speechless, but not this time. So there's two Dr. Halls in the house. Calling Dr. Hall, calling Dr. Hall. Uh, I guess you have to have different calling Dr. Hall one, Dr. two, something along those lines. Chris,
Yes,
uh,
sir.
you come out on the other end, and here you are today. There's some good things that's been happening to you since you was on the radio show the first time. Tell me about some of those things.
Oh, no problem. There's a lot of great things, and the fact is this, George. All those great things started with you. You noticed my book, and you brought me on the show, and you want to bring out this story. This is something that was near and dear to your heart. Anyone that knows you knows where your heart is, and so you wanted to bring the story about a young man who was an underdog, who went through a struggle, and it's all detailed in the book Ward of the Court, the old foster care system, being in juvenile hall all over Los Angeles, and then the aspirations to become a doctor, serving the military, and again, just uh, that whole story of a person who wasn't the greatest student, wasn't the greatest test taker, and those things change, and you can read about that in the book. And so you brought that story forth, and you said you brought me on the show. You saw this was something that you wanted people to learn about, particularly young people, and so you put me in contact with a great gentleman by the name of Neil Haley. And since that time, Neil and I have been working um, weekly for a year almost to bring inspiring stories to our young people here in America, to our people, our children in the underserved areas, to our children in rural areas who may feel hopeless. Um, and so we've been working very hard for a year to bring on the most inspiring guests. Um, and a lot of them, well, probably all of them, have been. We've had NFL players, and we've had Olympic athletes, scholarship winners, and so very prominent people who, when we talk about their background and show that, look, these people come from very humble beginnings, but they've reached great success, and they've had obstacles that our young people are facing today, and so that's turned into a show. Okay, and so that show airs about every week. Uh, so that's one of the things that I've been very busy with. I mean, of course, still working in the emergency room, 13 shifts, 12-hour shifts a month. But again, that very rewarding project. So that's pretty much what's been going on.
The young the young people of today, they need role models. And I appreciate what you just said about uh, so many people that are influential now that came from such humble, sometimes broken environments. Uh, they persevered. They had tenacity. Uh, get knocked down, get back up. Get knocked down, get back up. Uh, they had the grit to grind it out, and now they're in a position that they can help other people. If you let's go with you first, Chris, and then Mita. Uh, if you had one thing to tell young people, what would you tell them?
Right, that's a great question, George. And so you have to look at it from the point of view of a young person. Okay, look at it from the point of view of a young person who's in today's public school system. Okay, America has great public school systems, but we know that there are elements in the public school system, whether there be gangs, whether there is bullying, um, whether there are difference in socioeconomic status of the students, that kids get teased about and harassed about. Okay, and so you have to look at their standpoint where they are. Okay, and so the message that I want to give the kids is tell them that you are a very unique person. These outside influences, whether they're bullies, whether they're people laughing at you, your communication skills, where you come from, that is not you. That's not how you're defined. Okay, you're a unique person. God has made you unique. You have skills, you have intuition and talent that is to blossom. Focus on a successful role model that you like, and emulate that person, and do the best you can down that pathway. Um, and believe in yourself. Okay, that's the main thing I did when I was younger. And again, I was a part of. I encourage young kids to get part of great organizations like scouting. Like myself, I was a Boy Scout. Okay, and so when you're a Boy Scout, there's the Scout model, there's the Scout law. Those things you live by. You learn how to wear uniforms. Okay, and so again, the Scout model, on my honor, I will do my best to do my duty, to guide my country, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. I still remember it. Those basic principles, if we stand on and we believe in ourselves, can go a long way. So,
Mita, what would your message be if you had one thing to tell some young people tonight?
My message would be to believe in yourself and follow your dreams. Surround yourself around positive people and believe that you can be anything that you want to be if you put your mind to it. And don't be afraid to ask questions. Sometimes, as young people, they're afraid to ask questions because of what they feel someone would think of them, or they may not get a positive result. But I say always ask questions. And if you fail, try, and try again until you get it right. Don't ever give up and stay positive. And just make good choices and surround yourself around positive people.
I I'm getting in my twilight years now, and I look at the young people and I look at society and I think, dear Lord, help us old people and other people to get a grip. Chris, I think I've told you before the many times that we have talked on the telephone and other times, and perhaps even when we were on the air. I have I have always, my entire life, even when I was young, if I saw the underdog, I rooted for the underdog. I don't care if there was 10,000 people rooting for uh, the favorite.
Yes.
If I was the only person in the stands or in the crowd or on the corner, I would be the guy that was rooting for the underdog. And sooner or later, uh, I would find myself with that underdog. And I told people, somebody said, well, how do you reach him? How do you reach him? I said, well, we reach him one at a time. And they said, well, what do we do to reach him? Well, I'm still a firm believer, Chris and Mita, that a hug will go a long way. A little pat on the shoulder will go a long way. A smile and a word of encouragement can turn a young person completely around 180 and get him or her going in the other direction. I like what you said, Chris. I like what you said, Mita. You are your own individual. You're unique. God made you. And he made you in his likeness, in his image. And there is some powerful potential inside of that person, be it man or woman.
Very
Uh,
true.
That's true.
we on your radio show, you get to talk to a lot of people, like you said, Chris, a lot of influential people.
It's true.
Do you find that a lot of the influential people are reaching out to the young people?
You know, it's a very good question. And so I would say that um, over the last, again, I'd say 14 months, we've been doing that show. Um, I'd say more, yeah, more so than not. You know, if I think about the individual guests, they typically do it in sometime in the form of a foundation, or um, that's the main thing. Yeah, they'll get involved in community activities, um, things such as maybe with the NFL players, they do things like they'll endow scholarships. I remember specifically um, Braylon. One I can't remember his last name right now. Oh, Braylon Edwards. Yeah, his situation was that he ended up spending almost $1 million to endow a number of scholarships. I think it was maybe 80,000. So there's a lot of stuff in the background that doesn't come out in the media that these people do. These prominent individuals do. Uh, and so yeah, I'd say more so than not. Definitely, they are trying to make an effort. But again, I think it takes more encouragement from that particular group of people to encourage other individuals in that category to do the same thing.
Here's what I would encourage you to do, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends, Romans, and countrymen. I would encourage you to get this book. Just go to Amazon.com and type in there Ward of the Court. It'll pop up. Uh, get this book. Every one of us knows young people, whether it be our grandchildren or our nieces, nephews, uh, a neighbor kid, whatever. Get this book. And first, number one, you read it. And then give it to a kid. Give it to a kid. Because here's a man that gets into the grit of the story from the time he was a kid, what he went through, what he faced, the obstacles that he faced, until he's out on the other side where he's at today. Get this book, Ward of the Court. You read it and then give it to a kid. Give it to a library. Give it to your school. Uh, give it to your church library. But uh, not only get one, get a couple. Pass them out. Uh, Passing this out is better than passing out candy because candy gets chewed up and swallowed. This here will last and perhaps last a lifetime and actually change somebody's life. So uh, do yourself a favor and do a kid a favor at the same time. So, Chris and Mita, you are uh, doctors on the go. I don't need to ask you if you are busy. Are you busy?
Oh yeah, very much so.
Yeah, it's kind of I've spent probably the last wow, so many years working all over the state of Mississippi, uh, worked in Alabama, and so I worked in a number of emergency rooms, and I would say this. Um, Mostly every place I've worked in, George, would um, it's their communities where the need is there. I would describe them as rural communities, underserved areas. Right now, I'm working in the Delta in Mississippi Delta, a place called Northwest Mississippi Medical Center, with a great group of people. Okay, with our director there, Dr. Ozwa, and so it's a place where again, if you look at that part of the country, there's you have a high rate of diabetes, hypertension, and so we see lots of heart attacks and strokes. And we are actually right now in a position there where we're becoming an expertise in strokes there under our ER directors, Naomi and Dr. Oswald. So again, yeah, we're busy, and she's very busy as well. She's being a little bit modest here, but she's extremely busy.
She she is being modest. I think there's a whole lot there that uh, that she don't have to. She's one of those people that when you look at her, she don't have to say a whole lot, but you can see what she's made of. If that explains anything, if that makes any sense to you at all, and that is a compliment, indeed. One lady said this. Let me put it up here real quick. Our kids need to believe in their own abilities. We have something to give back. Don't be selfish. If you give, you shall receive. Leave your mind open to many possibilities. My, that that needs to be heeded by each and every one of us. Chris, are your books selling all right?
Yeah, yeah. The sales on the book are actually going pretty good. Sold through a number of outlets. You know, there's Amazon, there's Google Books, there's Books a Million, and so. But again, the whole idea is not so much the selling of the books. We're not trying to you know make money off of books. It's always nice, but we want to get the message out to young people. We want to tell this story. This story is near and dear to my heart. Um, it's hard to explain what it's like being in juvenile hall, which there's just a mattress. There's not a bathroom. There's a toilet. The lights go off at 9 o'clock, and there are actually wire bars on the door. You march in line to breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and there's uniforms. And so that's the situation you end up in when you get in trouble. And we know where that leads. We know where high school, uh, dropping out of high school leads. We know that 90 something percent of the people in prison, that number we know never even finished high school. If not that number close to it, I know for that for sure. So again, stressing education, stressing role models. Um, you know, your shows like yours, George, um, bring authors to the forefront like myself that can bring their story, and just motivating our young people. Let them know that we love our young people, and we're here for you. So that's what's important.
There were the times that you spent in juvenile hall. Were, was there one particular time, or maybe several times, where you you really got in some deep trouble and you thought, "Oh boy, uh, this is it. There's not going to be any chance of me getting out of this one. I'm going to be going away for a long time." Was there ever a case like that?
Well, it's interesting because every time I was in, that situation, it felt that way. And so, when you're in there for 6 months, okay, and there's a place in juvenile hall they call the box. And the box is where they put you in this box, and it's just you, and it's dark. And the way you get food, they slide it through a little opening in the box. There's no light. And that's when you do something bad in juvenile hall. And I think I probably got in a fight or two. And so they put me in the box. And so it was a very, very depressing, very sad time. I mean, but probably that time being in the box, I was kind of like, wow, I'm not, yeah, I'm in a lot of trouble. I'm not gonna make it out of here. Uh, and so thank God there were there were people there who put me in the right direction, and so it's in my case it's been a blessing, and I don't take anything for granted. I wake up every day with a smile. I thank God every day for my opportunities, and so this is the way I go about my work. I'm there working, saving lives. It's amazing to me that I'm there every day. It's been 20 years now, but I still stand there and think in the middle of a cold, trying to bring someone back to life. To wow, how did I get here? And I just keep working. I think, well, this is what God wants me to be. So
Hey, Chris, what was there one defining moment uh, that all of a sudden the lights came on and you realized that there lays a path in front of me that I better take it? What was there that defining moment in your life, or did it just gradually happen?
no, and that's the impact statement right there. That a lot of times there are the defining moments in a person's life that change them from a path of downhill and peril to a path of upward mobility. And so I think I was 13 years old, and I was in a place called, I believe it's the Children's Baptist Home in Woodland Hills, California. And it's a facility where boys live on the campus there. You can't just walk away. There's no free passes to leave, and it's pretty strict. But I was allowed to go to public school, and I was getting in a lot of trouble. I was ditching class, and really just not focusing. But I was happy to be away from the boys' home. So to me, I was having fun, but my grades were doing horrible. And so a lady brought me into the office, a social worker. I believe her name was Vimla Singh. I can't quite remember, but she brought me in, sat me down, and said, "Look, the grades that you have here, there's not one school in the state of California that will take you as a student with these type of grades." And she said, "I believe you're smarter than this." And she goes, "I don't know why you're doing this." And of course, I was getting older. I knew at some point I'd become a man. I was 14 at that time. I said, "Hey, she's right. I mean, I have to take care of myself here soon." About 17 or 18, you're kind of kicked to the street, and there's nowhere to go. There's no home. There's no mom or dad to go to. There are no relatives that can take me in, and so you have to start thinking how you're gonna take care of yourself. And so it could have been a look in her eyes that day, the tone of her voice, but she got across to me, and that really sunk in and made me think about what was going on. So
Thank God for that lady, huh?
thank God, yes, thank God. And so I'm certainly indebted to her, and uh, I want to just do whatever I can to help these young people, and maybe that's one way I can pay back my debt to her, because that day she changed my life. Sure.
did did you ever keep in touch with her? I mean, did she find out later on that you made it all right?
You know, there's that encounter with her, and then that particular boys' home, we got in a lot of trouble. Uh, One of my best friends, his name is Philip Mack, but we got in a lot of trouble in that boys' home. We ended up getting into, actually, it was a really bad fight. Uh, and where guy got beat up pretty bad. And so we ended up getting kicked out the boys' home. Can you imagine that? Anyway, so yeah, once they kicked me out of that boys' home, I never was talked to her again. So
Wow. That just goes to show, doesn't it, that somebody might say something to you that get you thinking, get your feet on the right path, and they might never know that they was instrumental in getting you started on the right way.
it's true.
No, that's amazing. God bless that lady. Uh, uh,
Definitely.
wow. So Mita, tell me, living with Dr. Hall, you have such a heavy chore, such a heavy task. I can tell. that you have to live with Dr. Hall and take care of Dr. Hall. And I'm only teasing you, honest. I'm only teasing you. Uh, you two, you two are just lovely. You are lovely. Uh,
Well, you're an awesome big brother.
yeah, I just wish you two the best. Uh, I mean, in whatever you do, whatever endeavors you just reach out and do, I just wish you the best. Uh, Chris, I wish you the best as you continue on with your radio show and reaching out and help people. Mita, it's so pleasant to have you here with us tonight. I
Thanks for having me.
we It's just been a blessing to have you guys in our life. We chat quite a bit, we talk quite a bit, and we'll continue to do that because that's what friends do. Chris, as I always tell you, if there's anything I can do to help you, please give me a shout.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
you know my number. You can
I do.
ringy dingy me anytime, uh, and we'll stay in touch. We'll get in touch. But let me put this back up one more time here. This book, ladies and gentlemen, Ward of the Court. It's flowing across the bottom there. Just go to Amazon, type in that little search box thingy, Ward of the Court, and that will pop up. Get one. Get one for you. Get one for the kids in your family. Get one for a kid around the block, church, school, library, whomever. Boy Scouts. Give them to the Boy Scouts, whatever. But wow. Uh, Here we go. Let me pull this down, then I'll put this comment up because this says it all right here. Where'd it go? Okay, I get it. Okay. Right there. Dominic said book was a great read. Uh it's not a hard read. It's an easy read.
Thank you, Dominic.
Yeah, but I'll tell you one thing. When you read it, ladies and gentlemen, uh it goes straight to the soul. Trust me, it goes straight to the soul. It is a great read. It's a great book. So take the time. Uh, it's one of those that you'll start and you won't put it down till you're done. That's how it works. Uh, so get you one. Get you one. There's lots of them out there. Just go get one. Go get one and see that somebody else gets one too. Wow, Mr. and Mrs. Doctors Hall. Thank you. Thank you so very, very much for being with us tonight. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. And Chris, we'll have you back again. Mita,
Great.
I would like to get with you. Maybe we'll get with you in several weeks when your schedule is flexible enough. We do a ladies' afternoon at the farm segment. Uh, I'd like to have you come on and you can speak to the other ladies. I'm trying to get Mrs. Espinlove to start running that thing. Uh,
That would be great.
yeah, so it's ladies with ladies. You know what I'm saying? Uh, but we try to bring them on, and then if I could talk Mrs. Espinlove into taking the wheel of that segment, I think she would enjoy it, and I think all the other ladies would too. But uh, we'll stay in touch, and we'd like to have you, Amita, if you be so kind and fit us into your busy schedule.
I will sure will do that, and I will be getting in touch with you
All right.
soon.
Well, great. Let me say this, George. One little thing is, again, I appreciate you having me on your wonderful show, and you know, I'm glad. I'm so happy you're in my life, and I like to wish pretty much everyone a beautiful King holiday too here in America. So, thanks for having us on today, George.
Yes, yes. Listen, it was my honor, my privilege to have you guys on here tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, there you have it. One more time, Dr. Hall and Mrs. Dr. Hall. So, there you go. Thank you, guys. Love
Thank
you.
you, George.
Thank you.
All righty. See you later.
Later. Have a good evening. Thank you so much.
All righty. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends, Romans, and countrymen, there you have it. One more time. Listen, take time to join me tomorrow because we have a man with us by the name of Harry Burke. He will be with us. He will be in Ireland. And then we'll have another man as our guest on at the same time, Paul Lawrence. He is in Canada. And then a third person will be with us, all on the same show, Mr. John Bundy out of Denver, Colorado. And so it's going to be like four old guys sitting around the campfire tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. So we've got Harry from Ireland, Paul from Canada, and we got John from Denver, Colorado. Wednesday night, we are going to Australia. We will have a gentleman here from Australia. So then on Friday night, we will have a gentleman here from Argentina. So this is International Week here on the George Espinlove Show. So we reach out to people near, far, and wide. So join us for those shows. It's up there. You can see it on our show page. So until then, I trust that everybody will just be nice and kind and love one another. Pat each other on the back now and then. Smile. Give somebody a hug. Don't be afraid to tell somebody that you love them. Uh, that's not sissified. That is being a true, loving, kind human being. Just flat out tell them, I love you. I care about you. It won't hurt you. I I mean it. It won't hurt you. So wherever you're at, if it's nighttime, you have a great, great night. If it's already daytime where you are, you have a great, great day. And whether you're down the street, around the corner, across America, or somewhere around this great big world, until tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, right here, same place, different time. This is Espinlob and the whole gang here at the Funny Farm saying, God bless you, and may He keep you right in the center of His hand. Until then.